live with studios in Midland and Odessa. You're watching First Alert 7 News at 9 on the CW West Texas.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us here for First Alert 7 News at 9 on the CW. And thanks to those of you joining us live on our First Alert 7 YouTube page. I'm Jay Hendricks in for Lauren Munt. Proposition A, a two-step plan aimed at improving fire and EMS services in West Texas, failed to pass last night in the elections by 123 votes. That's all. The proposal, which would have allowed the hospital district to raise its tax cap to fund expanded emergency response services, was voted down. Despite the urgent need for improved emergency services in areas like Gardendale, Pleasant Farms, and West Odessa, residents have opted against the tax increase that would have facilitated quicker access to critical medical care in those regions. Despite the loss, the hospital is still taking the outcome as a small win and a big learning lesson.
We learned a lot. We learned that we feel like we've got a good level of understanding and trust with our community, with our patients. And, you know, maybe we need to package this situation in a different light. We also heard the voters loud and clear, and we're going to make sure that we have a good project with a nice bow on top to hand to them. And ultimately, we want to just take great care of the patient.
The failure of Proposition A means that residents outside the city limits will continue to face delays in emergency response times as the burden of funding these services remains primarily on city taxpayers. In Midland, the Midland ISD School Board had 4 open seats. In District 1, Michael Booker won that election. In District 2, Angel Hernandez was the winner. In District 7, incumbent Brian Murray was defeated by Joshua A. Gwynn. And in District 4, Dr. Matt Freeze won. As a triple board certified doctor and community leader, Freeze felt it was time to restore excellence in education and give students the foundation and skills to pursue their dreams.
Doing our best to really push them towards a growth model, no matter if they're struggling, just being proficient, reading and writing and doing math. We need to make sure that they're keeping up with the grade level and not just passing them on.
Freeze is not from Midland, but has lived here for 14 years. He says his outside perspective made it easier for him to focus on the needs of the students. Congressman August Pfluger, who represents Midland and Odessa in Texas's 11th district, was re-elected last night. He ran uncontested, but still thanked his staff and people that he represents for believing in him and says he looks forward to another 4 years in office. We sat down with First Alert 7 sat down with the congressman, I should say, for an exclusive interview today to talk about what he wants in the next 4 years, especially as it seems the legislative and executive branches of government will be majority Republican. Specifically, he talked about American energy produced by the Basin.
It's time to unleash that. It's time to use that for our own economy, to lower prices. And that's what it means to have the House, the Senate, and the White House, is to stop the overreach, to stop the egregious nature of what the EPA, the Department of Energy, and other Biden-Harris executive branch agencies have been doing to us.
You can watch our full interview with Representative August Pfluger by going to our website, firstalert7.com. Along with voting for community representatives, propositions were also on the ballots, and there was one in Midland that was passed with overwhelming support. Almost 90% of voters voted to return 3.7 acres of land to the Midland Soup Kitchen. The land actually used to belong to the Soup Kitchen, but was given to the city because it was not being used. The Soup Kitchen isn't giving away specific details on how they're going to use that land, but they have first steps planned.
Our first initial priority for this land is just to make sure that it's developed for our day-to-day operation first, and then we're looking at expanding those necessary outreaches that we have that could use a little bit more space, because there are several, and so we're going to start those conversations very soon.
For now, land will provide more parking so that the people they serve have a safer area and aren't running across the street to reach them. Odessa College's $355 million bond did not pass in this November 5th election. That is according to unofficial finals for Ector County. There were a total of 19,137 votes for the bond, 20,542 votes against the bond. The bond would have funded parts of Vision 2030 plan, and while it did not pass, the college emphasized that it's committed to education, training, and career opportunities, and say they will refine the approach to meeting Odessa's educational and workforce needs. We have results from counties all over West Texas up on our website. That's firstalert7.com. You're looking at a live image right now. Several school districts had propositions on the ballot, including Fort Stockton ISD and Coahoma ISD. City of Alpine also had several amendments to the city charter on the ballot. All of those results are there. Just go to our website, firstalert7.com. Katie Opperly with our sister station KBTX was in Houston overnight at the Cruz watch party where the senator gave his victory speech. Take a listen.
Senator Ted Cruz has been elected to a third term. He celebrated at his watch party here in downtown Houston with his family, his team, and supporters from across the nation.
Your United States Senator Ted Cruz.
Senator Ted Cruz edged out Democrat Colin Allred in the 2024 election.
I want to congratulate Colin Allred on a hard-fought campaign.
Cruz stressed to his supporters 3 pillars he said are his focus in his next term. He first touched on immigration.
We must secure the border. Not with empty promises, but with concrete and steel and law and order, and with the unshakable resolve from knowing we are protecting those we love.
And continued on by discussing Texas energy and, quote, God-given rights.
The right to speak truth in an age of enforced lies. The right to worship the Lord God Almighty with all of our heart, mind, and soul without government getting in the way. And the right to protect our families without asking bureaucrats for permission. Thank you to each of you. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless the great state of Texas. I love you.
Cruz first became senator in 2013, and he will serve another 6-year term. Reporting from downtown Houston, Katie Opperly, News 3.
Your weather forecast today, not too bad out there. In fact, cool start, but otherwise good weather. Tomorrow, though, could be different. Right, Tom?
That's exactly right. It looks like a first alert weather day for the threat of thunderstorms, some strong to severe across parts of the Permian Basin and the Trans-Pecos. Let's go ahead and take a look at today's high temperatures. They warmed up by about 10 degrees or so over what we were seeing yesterday, and all the way up to 81 in Monahans, 83 in Fort Stockton and Presidio this afternoon. We've cooled off a little bit out there into the lower 60s, but mid 50s now in Andrews, 54 in Seminole and Hobbs. So things are starting to cool off as we're seeing that next front start to roll into the area. And you can see that we're seeing some gusty north winds associated with that front back in portions of New Mexico, whereas the calm winds, but they're starting to kick up out of the south and southeast around Fort Stockton, and they're going to come around to the east. We'll cloud up, and then tomorrow afternoon, as that whole storm system starts to move out with that front, we are going to be looking at thunderstorm possibilities, yellow shaded areas, including Midland, Odessa, and Big Spring. We could see scattered strong to severe thunderstorms after about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Large hail looks to be the biggest threat, quarter size plus, but also watching out for damaging winds, 1-inch rainfall amounts plus, and even an isolated tornado possible across the extreme eastern Permian Basin tomorrow evening.
UTPB student Elijah Gibbons has been given much needed hearing aids after one of his professors noticed he was failing to keep up with his assignments. When the professor noticed the struggle, they reached out to the care team at UTPB, who learned more about Elijah and his condition, which sparked a mission to help restore some of his hearing and support his education.
After just coordinating with Sandy with Beltone, they were able to actually gift the student with a brand new pair of top of the line hearing aids for him. So yeah, it's been a blessing.
UTPB reached out to us by Amber and told us that Elijah was having some trouble in class and was struggling to hear his teachers, and wanted to see what they could do to help and how we could help. And I was glad to call Beltone and see if they would be willing to donate some hearing aids to help this young man. And so we are fitting him with some new hearing aids.
Thanks to Beltone, Elijah says he is happy and able to hear his professors better and is working toward his Bachelor's of Arts degree. Speaking of UTPB, let's talk some local sports, specifically local college basketball. The UTPB Lady Falcons coming off their best season in program history last year, going 24-8 and reaching the Lone Star Conference Championship game and the NCAA tournament. The Lady Falcons will be in action at home to open the D2 Conference Challenge on Friday at noon. They will host South Dakota Mines. Meanwhile, the UTPB men's team will be on the road as they play in the South Central Region Challenge on Friday. They will face Adams State and Westminster University before heading to El Paso to take on UTEP. More local college basketball. Midland and Odessa College will be playing in the Midland College Classic at the Schaap Center beginning tomorrow through Saturday. And the Odessa College Lady Wranglers are 2-0 so far. Tomorrow they will open up the Wrangler Classic at the OC Sports Center. They will host Dodge City Community College to start it all off. The Lady Wranglers are coming off of an NCAA Region 5 championship appearance and were ranked number 8 in the poll in late October. Talking golf now, the Permian Basin Junior Open is coming to Andrews on December 15th. It ranges from ages 14 to 18 to allow high schoolers a chance to gain skills and knowledge of the college golf recruiting process. This opportunity also allows parents to interact with golf coaches and ask questions for their kids' future. November is Native American Heritage Month, and one organization in Lubbock is looking to educate folks on the rich history and the future. Dylan Villa from our sister station KCBD spoke to a member of the Native American people of the Plains and beyond to see why it's important to learn about Native American history.
Native American people of the Plains and beyond was born out of a desire to bring people aware of the Native American people that are in our surrounding areas.
In September 2021, the NAPPB was created, consisting of many different tribes, including Seminole, Navajo, Apache, Cherokee, and Choctaw, just to name a few. Cynthia Slaughter is the organization's secretary-treasurer and is Cherokee, Choctaw, and Irish. She explains there's a ton of Native American history that can be seen here on the South Plains.
Texas is full of Native American history, especially the Lubbock area. The Comanche people were a big group of people in this area. There's so many here that nobody even really knows about.
That's why Cynthia says the organization wants to provide valuable resources to celebrate the history of Native American people. A future plan is to have a standalone building, one that will hope to offer computer classes, clothing ministry, job force training, and more. In April 2025, the NAPPB is also looking to host an intertribal powwow, a Native American gathering that features dancing, singing, and celebration of heritage.
For the longest time, Native Americans were not allowed to have powwows or to dance. But it is just so much integrated into our beings to be able to do that. You cannot step into a circle and hear that drum without it just going all over you when you hear it.
Cynthia and the organization hope these upcoming plans, along with its current work, can bring awareness and spread the history of the Native American people.
We want people to understand that there's no animosities, there's no grudges, if you will. We're just trying to live and keep our heritage alive, our language alive, our crafts, our livelihood. That's who we are.
Dylan Villa, KCBD News Channel 11.
Well, we are looking at a first alert weather day tomorrow for the threat of strong to severe thunderstorms, all associated with a cold front that's going to bring a little chill to the forecast. We'll talk about all that coming up next.
Now, from the First Alert 7 Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, a first alert weather day is coming up. A first alert 7 weather day for Thursday due to the threat of strong to severe thunderstorms that are coming into our forecast. As we take a look at the weather makers, well, we are seeing a big storm system across the Four Corners area starting to dig down. And this is going to, depending upon the path it takes, it will definitely move across portions of West Texas. It's a little bit further off to the north. It's going to take a lot of the thunderstorms with it further to the north. But if it keeps on track as forecasted, it'll move right across West Texas. and that will bring some thunderstorms to the forecast. Again, a few could be strong to severe. Right now we're seeing the rain showers, even some rumbles of thunder south central New Mexico, snow up towards the Albuquerque area, and some of that's trying to make its way in across the western Texas Panhandle at the present time. That front starting to make its way down into the Texas Panhandle and into parts of the Permian Basin, as we're seeing the colder air again stay back in portions of New Mexico at the present time. But that's what we'll be watching out for coming up tomorrow. Now we're seeing temperatures at 40 in Amarillo, 50 in Lubbock, but behind the front, I should say, 33 in the Albuquerque area. So definitely some chillier air is on the way. Now the Futurecast is where we really tell the weather story here. Low clouds are going to form in towards the early morning hours. There may be a couple of sprinkles with this, and depending upon how long this hangs on, it's going to keep things cool, but we're expecting to break out into some sunshine by the afternoon hours as we start to get some isolated to widely scattered showers and thunderstorms to develop. And here's where we could see an isolated strong to severe thunderstorm after about 5 o'clock or so and continue to move across to the east. Looks like that line of storms there is lining up from Big Spring down towards Ira Ann and moving off to the east. So isolated severe thunderstorms there too. But it looks like things start to clear out by early morning hours on Friday, and we should be clearing out for high school football. But those yellow shaded areas where we're watching out for the possibility of large hail, strong damaging winds, rainfall amounts could be up there a little bit too. We could be seeing isolated amounts of 1 inch plus tomorrow afternoon. Rest of tonight, lower 50s on the way. For tomorrow, we're going to see the temperatures into the mid 60s to the lower 70s. Depending upon the cloud cover, and your First Alert 7 10-day forecast does show some breeze, cooler temperatures on the way, and staying kind of nice for the Veterans Day weekend.
Up next here at 9, tips on how to keep costs down during the holiday season. Believe it or not, it's right around the corner. Next in your consumer news. Believe it or not, the holidays are right around the corner, and experts predict spending to be at an all-time high this year. Now it's time to start thinking about budgeting. In today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan looks at shopping trends and how to avoid the holidays from hurting your finances.
It's the season of giving, but if you're not careful with finances, you could be getting a hefty bill at the end of the holiday season. Experts say shopping as early as now can help you budget.
We have seen a trend over the last couple of years of consumers starting their shopping a little earlier for the winter holidays.
Catherine Cullen with the National Retail Federation says holiday spending this year is expected to hit an all-time high, with shoppers spending an average of $902 per person, about $641 going towards gifts and the rest towards food, cards, and decor. There is some good news for shoppers this year.
We do know that in many ways inflation has gotten better than it was last year, particularly when it comes to goods, which is great news for consumers.
A recent survey by NerdWallet found 28% of shoppers who used credit cards to buy gifts last year are still paying off that debt. So, how can you make sure you don't overspend?
The best thing to do is to really make a plan before you start spending. Ideally, we want to use our savings and not debt to fund those purchases.
NerdWallet personal finance expert Kimberly Palmer also recommends these tips. Make a list and figure out exactly how much you want to spend. Start shopping early. Talk to family and friends about expectations and possibly scaling back. And sign up for price drop alerts.
Using some kind of browser add-on like Honey or the Camelizer browser extension just to track those prices can just help make sure that you're getting the best deal possible.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Before we go, tomorrow is going to be a First Alert 7 weather day for the threat of strong to severe thunderstorms across parts of the Permian Basin into the lower Trans-Pecos, all associated with a big storm system and cold front that's going to move across. Now, we do have temperatures staying into the mid-60s, dropping down into the 50s. It could be a little chillier than that. I was kind of conservative on those numbers. But again, that is going to be in the forecast. Best chance of rain late tomorrow night, early into Friday, before things start to clear out just in time for area high school football games. And it's the Veterans Day weekend. Lots of things going on, and the weather's going to be fantastic.
All right, just a chance of rain the next 2 days. All right, keep it right here. We will, of course, keep you up to date. Thanks for joining us. More news coming up tonight on First Alert 7 News at 10.